The NBA playoffs have gotten off to a ridiculously amazing start so far. We had a couple of insane game twos with that matchup between the 76ers and the Knicks, and also between the Lakers and the Nuggets. And with that latter series, Denver pulled off an insane second half comeback after LA looked like they were running away with it, including a game-winning step back by Jamal Murray. And I really want to say this about Murray. For a guy who's never been an all-star once in his NBA career, it's amazing to me that he's proven to be one of the best playoff performers over the last 5 seasons. Time and time again, he shows up and has big games for Denver, and even though he didn't shoot it well in game 2, he still came up as clutch as ever. And what's so unique about Jamal Murray is that while he's never been an all-star, he's consistently outperformed other all-star players in the playoffs. Think about it. How many current all-stars do we give a ton of criticism to for not being the best playoff guys? Joel Embiid, James Harden, Jaylen Brown, Karl Anthony Towns. So many all-star players show that they hit a wall come playoff time, but that's not the case with Jamal Murray at all. Check this stat out. Jamal Murray through 54 playoff games is averaging just as many points as the reigning league MVP Joel Embiid. And that's through the same amount of games with better shooting splits as a second option player. Or even look at this, Karl Anthony Towns. He's made 4 all-star teams and 2 all-NBA teams, but is averaging 6 less points per game in the playoffs relative to Murray. Hell, over the course of his career as a non-all-star, he's had more iconic playoff moments than a lot of the guys that I just mentioned. And this elite playoff play goes all the way back to the bubble back in 2020. He had some absolutely unreal performances, including a 50-point outburst against the Jazz. So he's shown up more in the playoffs than a lot of players that are consistently ranked above him, and that to me is one of the most underrated occurrences in the league over the last few years. Given all of this, I would argue that Jamal Murray is probably the most underrated player in the NBA. The fact that he's consistently this great in the postseason and is such a reliable offensive force in these big games while never making an all-star, all-NBA team is astounding. Go look at his career highlights and awards on Wikipedia right now. It doesn't make sense that his resume is that short for a player this lethal. And he's literally one half of the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. He and Jokic went head-to-head against the duo of LeBron and AD in the postseason last year and proved they were better. And going up 2-0 in this matchup this season could suggest the same thing. To me, with just how lethal he is as a second option to Joker, it reminds me a lot of how Clay was in the pre-KD years in Golden State. And yes, he hasn't been great so far in this series. He shot at 9 for 24 in both game 1 and game 2. But that mentality he has of keeping his foot on the gas and not letting the percentages keep him out of the game is all-star-like. It's an all-star, superstar quality to maintain your confidence when having rough shooting nights, and Jamal is showing that off this series. Think about it. Being that confident to take that shot over a depoy candidate while just being 8 for 23 at that point of the game is elite. When we talk about Denver, so much focus is on Jokic, and rightfully so, but there is no better Robin to their team's Batman in the league right now than Jamal Murray. And he gives you that same feeling that a lot of superstar players give you. His elite level shot creating leaves you hopeless if you're a fan rooting against him. He's definitely one of those break your heart type of players. So, long story short, Jamal Murray is lethal, and this game should be a reminder of just how dominant he truly can be, even though his lack of accolades don't suggest it. So let's see if Denver is able to keep their foot on the gas heading into game 3 as the series heads back to LA. But flat out impressive stuff we saw from him in what was a classic playoff matchup against the Lakers.